So welcome back and hello if you are new. Thank you ever so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And I also know that I haven't exactly been posting a hell of a lot recently, but life has just been incredibly busy. I don't want to put videos up without kind of like being able to do them justice. And you know, you guys support the channel so much and I really appreciate it. With that in mind, actually, I just want to say a massive thank you to my coffee supporters. If you're not familiar with coffee, basically, you can buy me a coffee. There's a link just down below, but any support that you guys give, you know, whether it's a like, a comment, subscribe, whatever, it really does mean the world. And I know that I sound like every single other YouTuber saying that, but it's true. However, we are not here to talk about coffee today. Today, we're here to talk about one of the best bands in the world. 5 years after Aenima was released, Tool returned with what was probably one of the most anticipated albums of the metal world in 2001. And they came back with what is now a double platinum #1 album, the 79-minute Lateralus. So following on from Aenima, I think personally Lateralus has more of a prog vibe to it. Like a great example is The Patient. You know, it starts off with this very timid, you know, guitar from Adam Jones, and then slowly but surely kind of morphs into this massive song. But I've got to say that, you know, the masters of space really are Justin Chancellor with his kind of throaty lead piping sort of sound, you know, like on the guitar tone of the bass, and Adam Jones as well. It proves that sort of genius understanding that Chancellor and Jones have. You know, they have the exact kind of push and pull that you need to really create that sense of space. But then it's all kind of anchored by, you know, the octopus that is Danny Carey, who kind of keeps the Tool heartbeat going on. And then you've got that emotion that kind of like bursts out of Maynard James Keenan. Schism is perhaps one of the greatest, you know, rock metal songs of kind of the last 20 years, I would say, 100%. I also think it's kind of testament to how abstract some of Justin Chancellor's bass lines were. You know, like it's such an iconic bass line, but really when you think about it, it doesn't really sort of have a place, and it's quite jarring and different. With that in mind, you know, Tool are a weird band. So, for example, Danny Carey recorded himself breathing through a tube to kind of simulate the sort of monks' chants and things like that on Parabol. Then you've got a slowed down sound of Maynard squeezing his cat, which is Mantra, which is the preface to Schism. But of course, I wouldn't be a proper Tool weirdo without talking about the title track Lateralus and the Fibonacci sequence.
With the number 987 being the 17th number of the Fibonacci sequence. You see, it's simple logarithmic spiral integer approximation theory.
The actual song refers to the concept of humanity's desire to learn and kind of expand their consciousness, right? And one of the main sort of elements of the song is the Fibonacci sequence and also the golden ratio. So the Fibonacci sequence is where the first number and the previous number added makes the next one. So 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 5, 3, 5, 8. And it's basically an infinite sequence that you can kind of go on. And the golden ratio is a unique mathematical principle which is easy to spot everywhere in the natural world. It's in petals for flowers, seed heads, hurricanes, shells, you know, anything which spirals out. Whoa. And again, there's, you know, going back to those conspiracy theories that fans have had with this album, there's also the holy gift. So the Holy Gift is basically this idea that Lateralus was created and it's in a different order. So if you reorder it, you kind of basically get a different way of hearing the album through. I don't know if it's true. It's probably just like an urban legend because Tool fans are really crazy. But why is it such a revered album, 20 years later? I think that personally, it's the unique appeal of Lateralus. There is nothing like it out there. There's nothing that Tool have made like it. There's nothing that the rock and metal scene has ever seen since, its inception. But what I think is truly amazing about Lateralus is that still to this day, people question its musical motifs, its themes, the ideas, the crazy artwork that's on the cover. There's so much of a kind of enigma that surrounds this album, and that for me I think really does kind of give it a life of its own. So with that in mind, thank you ever so much for checking out the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what your crazy Tool theories are and your experiences of this album, of course. You can support the channel by hitting the link underneath me. You can buy me a coffee. It really does help and I really, really appreciate it. I will also have a second Tool Apocalyptic Anniversaries coming up very, very soon this month. So stick around for that, especially if you're a nerd like me. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care, my friends.